Wow.
Howdy y'all, welcome to the second last episode of How to Get Easy Weapons Platinum. This time around we're doing pistols. You might notice the mic quality's a lot better because I just so happened to recently purchase a Blue Yeti Blackout that my girlfriend just so happened to spot for me at my local Walmart. I'll have a video explaining that and a couple other things too. Anyways, to the pistols. So, this time around pistols are straight up bad. Like, by themselves, they are terrible weapons, and you should never try and use them as legitimate primaries. However, with how the gunsmith works in this game, you can definitely kit your pistols out to fill a wide range of engagements compared to previous titles. There are 3 pistols that have identical damage profiles, but varying fire rates, ranges, and recoil patterns, those being the M1911, the X16 or the Glock, and the M19. The M19 has the fastest fire rate potential with the lowest amount of recoil. The M1911 has the slowest fire rate cap with the longest range possible and high recoil, and the X16 is somewhere in between. The other 2 pistols in this category being the 357 Magnum and the 50 GS or the Desert Eagle. Now, I'm gonna just lump in the M19, the 1911, and the X16 altogether since they are most comparable to one each other. So what I'm just going to say is, by themselves, the M19 is probably the best with no attachments and stuff, but once you start putting attachments in the equation, the X16, at least in my opinion, is much more preferable and more usable. The 1911 I would try and get out of the way first just because it has such a low fire rate with a pretty high magnitude of recoil for being a 45. I don't really understand why it has this much recoil when the X16 is also a 45 ACP pistol that has a faster fire rate. I don't know, it is what it is though. The Desert Eagle, as a side note, as well as the 357, are pretty much identical. The 2-shot capabilities are roughly the same, it's just the Desert Eagle doesn't do as much damage over range, but they both carry out 1-shot headshots basically until their mid-range damage point. I think for both of them it's around... Okay, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but if you want to know more about these stats, definitely go check out the exclusive Ace. He's where I get all my stats from, and I feel like you guys should do the same too. Now, anyways, I'm going to lump the 3 lightweight pistols, quote-unquote, those being X16, M19, and 1911, all together because you can really kit them out the same way and just have as much equal success between the 3. What I would recommend doing before you get any pistols if you're starting your grind, I would definitely recommend going out and getting a Kimbo on every single one of the pistols. This will just help in the long run, and for some pistols like the 357 with Snake Shot, it's a vast improvement over the base. So for the X16, M19, and M1911, or the lightweight pistols, there are 3 crutch attachments which I would say is just like common sense as to what you would definitely want when you're trying to run these pistols. Those being either the longest barrel or a monolithic suppressor, the lightweight trigger, a Kimbo, well that's just kind of for any pistol, or the fully loaded weapon perk or sleight of hand. Now with fully loaded, it's kind of like a more niche setup. You could just run an SMG chambered in the same caliber, you would have equal success, but sleight of hand I feel like is a much better perk selection just because you can have a near instant reload time with having a lot of the same benefits as having a heavier, clunkier pistol with an increased mag size. So I don't know, it just makes sense to me. You could again kit this however you want. This is just like a base plate to build on top of. Although I will say for the 1911 you kind of have to play a more specialized playstyle because it's clearly the worst pistol. It has some of the coolest looking variants, but it is clearly the worst. The only real benefit it has over the other pistols is its range, but it has a little too much recoil and it shoots a little too slow, and overall it is not good. It's not Russian approved, huh? Also, something I should just say like right now, don't ever use the heavy duty trigger or the match grade trigger. There is no reason to have extra aiming stability on a pistol. I don't care what you say, maybe that would work for like the Magnum in a super specialized playstyle, but like, just don't do it. It ain't worth it, chief. The fire rate potential you can get with the lightweight trigger is what you need in order to succeed in winning any gunfights. So why would you nerf your fucking fire rate potential for aiming stability? I don't know, it just ain't worth it, man. It's not worth it. Now, moving aside from the lightweight pistol category and moving into the heavier quote-unquote caliber, you have the 357 and the 50 GS. My favorite handgun is definitely the Desert Eagle, just because it's such an iconic weapon, and it's actually like it's like the nostalgia just adds to the factor of it being a really good gun on top of the stats it already has. It's just, I don't know, it's definitely my favorite. The 357 is more of a niche gun if you don't run the snake shots, which you 100% should be, because you're basically getting a worse Desert Eagle with the same range, if not a little better. So I don't know. If you're trying to run the 357 without snake shot, you should definitely have sort of either a really snap heavy build where you could easily like snap on and get those 2-shot kills, or that 1-shot headshot if you're accurate enough, or make it so that you can push the ranges to the max and definitely get those precision shots. The bullet velocity with the 357 is definitely better than all of the pistols, but you have to keep in mind it is still a pistol. You're not really supposed to be sniping people across the map, although you can do it. Now, with the 50 GS on the other hand, you definitely can snipe people across the map because it's a 50 caliber pistol. It's just, you're delivering a lot more kinetic energy at range, so it makes sense, even though this has less damage over range than the 357, but I don't know, I don't really know how that makes sense. But my specific build for the Desert Eagle is trying to max out the maximum potential of that 2-shot kill to the chest. It does 2-shot to the body, but at a certain range you have to start hitting upper torso shots for it to 2-shot, so just trying to max it out as much as I can. The recoil is also heavily improved with this, not that it really has any, it just has a lot of visual kick, but truth be told it recenters after every shot, so you don't need to worry about that. What you should not do is definitely do not run dual-wield Desert Eagles. It fires too slow and your hip fire accuracy is absolutely abysmal, so if you're trying to spam off 250 caliber handguns, you're not going to succeed. Like, I understand the philosophy behind it, you know, if you have a 1-shot headshot potential with hip fire, 2 guns will double the potential, but in practice it doesn't really work that much, and you would just be better off akimboing any other pistol except for the 357 Magnum by itself. What the playlists I would definitely recommend is, if you have it available, Dirty Old Houseboat or Cheshire Park, but if you don't, I would just recommend sticking into hardcore, especially for the no attachment kills. You can manage with attachment kills in core, but without, no, there's no way. There's maybe an exception for the M19 just because it has a very high fire rate cap, but the others, you definitely can't do that. Alright, so that was it. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I would love to hear some criticism, feedback, anything like that, anything to help me out as a content creator as I'm making these changes. There are some changes that are coming, including a much needed boost in quality, first starting with the microphone, and then I have a capture card that I need a PC for, so that'll be in the works in the background, and yeah, it will all be very good time. Alright, take care y'all.